Welcome to PhotoshopUser TV, brought to you by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And now, here are your hosts, the Photoshop guys.
So around the gym.
Hey, and welcome to another season of PhotoshopUser TV, brought to you by Slowly.
I had to ease it.
PhotoshopUser magazine. And by the way, this is our 100 Hot Tips issue. We do one every year. It's very big and exciting, and today's that day. So welcome, everybody. We have got a great show to kick off the new season. We have Mr. Corey Barker with us.
Hello.
We have Mr. Pete Collins.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And way over there,
Oh no.
it's just us three.
It's just us, yes.
So Matt's out.
Matt's traveling, yes.
RC's too busy to be on the show.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. Yeah.
Very busy, you know. So it's just us today. Hey, a couple things. First off, for those of you who are just joining us this season, thank you for joining in. Want to make sure that you know about my worldwide photo walk. It's free. It is coming up on Saturday, October 13th. We have almost 22,000 walkers signed up around the world, 1,100 cities. Yeah, look at that, 21,855.
Wow.
We have over 1,100 cities all over the world. Good to go. So if you'd like to join us, go to worldwidephotowalk.com, and it's free, and you can come and check it out.
This is how many now? 4?
This is the fifth year.
Fifth
annual.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. And what if you don't know what a photo walk is, you just get together for 2 hours, about 50 people, and you walk around usually a downtown area. You take pictures, you have fun, and you meet new friends and stuff like that. I mean, it's not, you know. And then at the end of the walk, you wind up at a restaurant or a little pub or something, and you sit around and just make friends. I mean, really, the whole thing is just a social event. It's a social event from top to bottom. So.
Well, you might meet people in your area that you have the same interests. You never knew they were there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody, I hear so many stories of people that make friends and stuff. So I've made friends with people from my walk. So anyway, that's coming up. So I hope you'll check it out. And we've got a lot of Photoshop stuff today, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I got a big feature tutorial on panos today, shooting and stitching panos and stuff like that.
And I love the subject matter for sure. But does that mean I get to go first?
I feel like you should go.
I go first. I just got a quick little 3D thing, and I know how much Scott enjoys 3D.
Everybody loves 3D.
I prepared
it's just
this
all
especially for
about.
him. So, no, just talking about, this is something that came up at Photoshop World, and a lot of people are asking how to deal with, because I'm always creating things in 3D in Photoshop, but they ask, can you bring in 3D art from other applications? And the answer is yes. So actually, I go to this site, it's called archive3d.net, and they actually have a large library of free 3D objects. And just to show you, I've got a 3ds file here. I'm just going to take this and go ahead and open it directly in Photoshop, just like you would any other Photoshop document. And there's my 3D object. Doesn't look like much because it's actually sitting on its side. So let's grab the move tool and just rotate it around. So you can see it's just this decorative piece that's in a fully modeled 3D space. Now, what do you do when you get these objects? Well, when they come from other 3D applications, you might have a situation where it didn't come with a texture, or you want to change the texture or something like that. And you can fully do that here inside Photoshop. Not just does it open the 3D object, but it allows you to edit it in its many facets. So here inside the 3D panel, I'm just going to select the texture for this 3D object, which is located under Plane 2 is the name of the object, right in here. So let's just say I wanted to give this object more of a rusted look, like it's it's really weathered and such like that. Well, simple enough. You just need to first find a texture that has that very effect on it. Like in this case, I've got some rust and cracked paint here going on, which will work pretty well for this. So let's go ahead and open that up. And to really quickly just bring this as a texture to apply to 3D, I'm just going to go to the 3D menu and just go ahead and choose New Mesh from Layer 3D Postcard. Puts it in a 3D space. Now it's converted to a texture wrapped on that object. So I'm going to go in the 3D panel, select that background, and in here in the Properties panel, which you want to keep with your 3D panel because it's where you manage all the different properties here. And up here in this little icon here, you see this little preview for the texture on here. Well, I'm just going to click on that and choose New Material. And now it saves that texture to the library. So now it's like when you define a pattern or a brush or something in Photoshop, now it lives in the program. So back to my original 3D object, I'm just going to go over here into that same menu and select that texture, and there you have it, wrapped around the object. And if I rotate it around, you can see it takes on that property. Now, here is the key. a lot of people tend to forget about this part, is when you're applying a 3D texture, a texture map in this way, and it shows up on the object, it may not look like you expect it to, and a lot of people abandon it at this point. But no, all you have to do is go into that same properties panel, up here where it says diffuse, right here. There's a little pop-up menu, and just choose Edit UV Properties. Here you can adjust the UV, basically the horizontal and vertical scale of the object. Notice how I move the sliders, how the texture is getting smaller and looking more natural. These two sliders below it are just the offset. It allows you to reposition the texture on the object as you go. So you just move those sliders, and then you can get a better edit on there. So it's not just being able to manage the texture by adding it to the object, but being able to reposition it and scale it is certainly something you can do all inside Photoshop. And there I have my nicely aged, rusted figure I could add to a photo or something like that.
That's very nice in 3D.
Isn't it cool? He loves it.
Dude, it makes me want to do 3D. Not enough to actually try it, but on some level, look over there, go, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, it's something you could add to the doorway of a photo, just to kind of add a little bit decorative aged element to it. So there is some cool stuff there.
Well, the design possibilities with that are just
certainly
endless.
So. Yes, absolutely.
Endless. Yes.
Hey, we have a deal for you from one of our sponsors, Peach Pit Press, as a deal. So there's a brand new book called Photoshop Masking and Compositing by Katrine Eisman and friends, and they've got a deal for 40% off. On it's $28.79 if you buy it directly. Go over at peachpit.com. It's an ebook deal, so you get the ebook for 40% off the discount. $28.79. I have no idea where to send you to go get that, but somewhere.
I would assume the Peach Pit website.
Go to peachpit.com.
Peachpit.com.
All right.
Katrine's got great stuff. She's really good.
Oh, she's terrific.
Yeah.
She's amazing. All right.
So I guess, was it break time?
I don't know. I have no idea.
It is
yes.
break. And he said break.
Yes. Juan actually gave us an audio cue.
He audibled.
He said break.
All right.
Oh, there we go. Break, break,
Okay.
break. Well, it says toss to break. Hey, we're going to toss to break. When we come back, I've got my pano tutorial. We're going to talk about shooting and stitching and making a pano poster, all after this short break. Don't go away. We'll be right back right here on Photoshop User TV, the new season. It's like Big Brother.
Hi, I'm Larry Becker, and I want to talk to you for a second about discounts. Discounts that come as a part of NAP membership. You know, NAP is known for Photoshop training, and because you want to get Photoshop User Magazine, or you want to learn about Photoshop or Lightroom. But the discounts are a big part of a lot of memberships. Now, of course, there's going to be discounts on things that we provide and things from our sister company over at Kelby Training. You're going to get discounts on our books and our seminars and our DVDs. You'd expect that. But there are discounts on all kinds of things, from rental cars to hotels, and then, of course, software and hardware. There's a tremendous Apple discount, for example, that could easily help you pay for your entire NAP membership for a year or two. And then there's discounts from B&H. We hear about that one all the time. I get emails, people saying, you know, even if I wasn't into Photoshop and learning Photoshop or Lightroom, I would save enough in shipping from B&H alone to pay for my NAP membership. NAP membership pays for itself for an awful lot of people. And it does it with more than just those individual discounts, and we keep adding more discounts all the time. So discounts, while it's not the reason to join NAP, for some people it is, it's a reason that you're going to want to stay a NAP member forever.
Well, hi everyone, we are back, and we have a very special, I'm psyched about this because Scott shoots this really cool stuff. These massive events they hold every week. Every weekend they hold these massive events. I think it's a football game, no. But all right, so what do you have? I'm baffled.
So on Sunday I shot the Titans Lions game up in Nashville, and during the third quarter, I went up top and wanted to shoot like a 12-frame pano of the whole stadium. The stadium was packed, and I wanted to get a shot. And it's funny, on Facebook today, or on maybe a Google Plus, some guy writes, well, Mr. Kelby, you left the game in the third quarter and went up top. Weren't you concerned about missing some key photos while you were shooting this pano? Well, there was actually 5 other photographers for the Titans. I was shooting for the Titans. 5 other photographers there. I think they probably had it covered.
Sure, they got it covered, yeah.
But what I answered back to him was, yeah, but who was covering the pano? Nobody. So I went up there and got it. All right, so, and I actually had to have a security guard hold my main camera. So first I want to give you a couple of tips about actually shooting the pano to help make it better for you. So it'll make Photoshop do its thing better. First off, there's one main rule. The one main rule is that when you shoot your pano, all right, you're going to shoot 12 consecutive shots, that you make sure you overlap at least about 20 or 30%. So, you know, so there's not a break between them. In other words, so if you see a fan standing here in the stands, you take your first one, they should also be at the, you know, when you take your next frame, that same fan should be in there. So Photoshop looks at 2 frames and goes, oh, look, that fan's the same as this one.
Yeah.
We'll put them together.
So it recognizes 2 things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just overlap a little. It's easy to remember. I got to overlap. That's number 1. All right, number 2 is this will just make it easier when you get in Bridge or Lightroom or whatever. Before you actually take your pano, stick your finger up, shoot your finger, then take your pano. Click, 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 click. At the end, put 2 fingers up. That way, when you're looking through hundreds of photos later, you see a finger and 2 fingers, you go, aha, I shot a pano. Everything between there and there is a pano.
Basically bookends your shots.
Right, and you think it'd be obvious, but a lot of times we look at our panos real big and you're just kind of going through going, this doesn't look very good. What was I thinking? Not realizing it's a pano. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, when you open your images up in Photoshop, a 12-image pano, and I shot this with a Nikon D600, so these would be like 24 megapixel shots. If you open 12 of them, you got like a gig open or some ridiculous.
That's a lot of
you have in the raw photos. So here's the bad thing. If I take those photos and try to put them together, right, at their full resolution, it could be 10, 12, 15 minutes. Could be more depending on your computer, right?
Yeah.
So the tip is go ahead and export them all first as very, very low quality, very, very small JPEGs. It takes you 2 seconds to export them. I mean, 2 seconds take you 15 seconds to export them. That way, you can put your pano together and see if, not only does it work, which it should, but to see if you like it.
Yeah.
Because who wants to wait 20 minutes and go, yeah, it's stitched together perfectly, but I just don't like it.
Yeah.
So here's Camera Raw. If we can go switch over to my screen. So here's Camera Raw. The bottom of the Camera Raw dialog box, this little blue link, looks like a web link, is actually your workflow options. So open up all the images, so they're all over here on the left, you know, like open up all 12, and then choose the smallest possible size, 1.6, right? And then click OK. Then when you go to Save Image, choose the super low quality JPEG, like 1 to 4, or maybe not that low. Maybe medium, 5 to 7, and export the photos into a folder. Open those in Photoshop, run your pano, okay? All right, so now we're gonna pretend we did all that. Actually, I did do all that. Okay, here we are in Photoshop. Here are the images. I'm gonna make them bigger just so you can see real quick. See, there's the first finger. Here's all the images, woo! And there's the second finger.
Hey, that hand's out of focus. No.
Yeah, it will always be out of focus. Cool. All right, so, by the way, I was trying out the Nikon D600, brand new. Also trying out a Tamron lens. I tried out the 24-70 f2.8 from Tamron. Did a nice job.
Yeah?
Very nice. Yep. And it's like, you know, a third less than either a Canon or a Nikon, same kind of lens. Okay, so you select all of the frames in between those fingers. Right-click in the mini bridge and choose Photo Merge. So select them all, right-click, choose Photo Merge. It will bring up this.
It does work well.
I don't know what just happened, but I left Photoshop by accident. Here we go. Let's try it again. Photoshop, Photo Merge. There we go. And this window comes up. And it asks you the stupidest question ever. Blend images together.
No.
No, I went to Photo Merge because I want them to be separate. No. So go ahead and click OK. And it will try to put them together into one pano. Now here's the good news. If you overlap by 20%, it will. Hey, while this is doing that, can I be on screen for a second? Hi. Hi. Oh, over there. Hey, so I just want to give you a tip. When you're shooting, instead of like shooting like this, click, 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 and just rotating around your hips, try to do more of an arc. So go click, 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 kind of straighten your body out forward, click, 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 straighten yourself, click, 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 and straighten yourself. Don't just stay in one position and swivel. So go click, 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 and then kind of aim your feet forward. Click, click, click. So that way, instead of getting this,
you'll get see that more, that distortion.
yeah, because you'll get what's called a bow tie effect, where your pano goes like this, then it goes thin, and then it goes back out. And you have to trim such a little tiny spot by kind of shifting your body forward. So what you want to create is more of a smooth arc and not a semicircle. Okay? Because so take a look on screen now. It's stitched together very quickly, right? And look how much there is. I mean, usually a pano would, you'd have to cut off a bunch of stuff, but it saved a lot of it. And that's what I did. I did that foot technique. All right, so let's flatten the image, is step one. Now, and it's stitched together just fine, but there are a couple of issues here. One of them I can fix in Photoshop CS6, which is look how bent the field is, right? So I'm gonna go to Filter, Adaptive Wide Angle. This thing is really, really handy. We're going to it knows what kind of lens I shot it with. See, it's a 24-70. It's a Nikon body, but the lens model is a 24-70 f2.8 Tamron. It knows that. Watch when I drag, just drag out, it bends to match the field. Like, it knows the deal. It knows that your field is bent. So you just have to kind of line it up, click OK, or just let go. Actually, I want to drag it further. Sorry, all the way to the other end of the field. And it tries to straighten it out. Look.
But that bend is based on that lens type?
Yeah, it knows it's that lens, right?
Very nice.
And then you can say, well, I need to straighten this out as well up here. And it just straightens things out. Isn't that cool?
That is very
cool. And it can sense that there's a bend, and if it can fix it, it will. Yeah, look at that.
One thing I noticed that's cool is that you can add those multiple lines and straighten it that much more. So
yeah, you can. I'm doing just the basics here. All right. So once you get it pretty much, you're going to have to crop it, but that's okay. It was supposed to be a pano. At this point, I would just click OK. And then I'm actually going to crop it. It looks like it's a little crooked. So let's go to Free Transform and just rotate it a little bit first so it's not so crooked. Like that. And then I would actually recrop the photo so where it looks more like a pano, because it looks actually, there's so much, it captured so much space, it looks like a two-stage pano where you did a top and a bottom. I don't want that. All right, and I'm going to bring this in a little bit because it looks like too far compared to the other side. So now we have our pano. I need to tuck it in a little more over here. You could use content aware fill.
So you're always going to anticipate that you're going to be cropping.
You're always going to crop
quite a bit.
You crop every pano, so it's Now in this case, because I had to bend it like I did, and normally you wouldn't be shooting a football field; it wouldn't be so obvious. But a field is so symmetrical, it screams I'm out of whack. And so this little bit of bend there, I'm cool with. Okay, now, so for what I did for the Titans was this. I'm going to flatten the image. And I'm going to add some canvas space on it to make it into a poster. So I'll add 1 inch on each side. Now you got to realize this is a very low resolution file because I saved them all as that 2 megapixel thing.
1 inch is going to be a lot of space.
Right. So I put 1 inch all the way around. Then I go back to canvas size again. And by the way, it's found under Image, Canvas Size. And then I'm going to, this little grid says where do you want to add space. Normally it adds space all the way around. But if you click the top, then it only adds space below it to the bottom. So I'm going to add maybe 2 inches down there. Okay, there we go. Now I can hide the mini bridge. I don't really need it anymore. So now I'm just going to add text and a logo. I'm going to go to Place. And we're going to grab my Titans logo, which was very hard to find on the web in EPS. It took all of 15 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah, I can.
So there we go. There's the logo. Then you're going to add some text. So what I generally put when I make a poster for a team is I would put LP field, which is where it was shot. All right, and the date. So this was Sunday, September 23rd, I think it was, 2012. And then under that, I would just do a return and write the score. So Titans, 44, and I do a pipe, shift, backslash. And then Lions, 41. And I'll just kind of put this right there. And voila, we have a a poster
Do you have
from.
permission from the Tennessee Titans?
I made this. I was shooting for the Tennessee Titans. I'm giving this to the Tennessee Titans.
There you have it.
They should be pretty fine with it.
It still blows me away how well it stitches those panels together. Photoshop.
It does. It does an amazing job.
You really didn't have to make any adjustments at all. It was
Dude,
pretty
it
much
was,
done. Yeah.
well, I mean, in this particular case, I had to do the wide angle. 99% of my panels, I don't have to do that because I'm usually shooting landscapes or travel, and you know, you're not going to have a field there where you go, hey, you know. I was also probably, ideally, you don't really want to shoot a pano with a wide angle. You know, you want to shoot at 50 or above.
Right.
You know, so I could have made it myself a little easier by shooting at 70 millimeter. I think I was a little wide. So that's why you had wide angle, that little bit of wide angle. But luckily in CS6, you can see it was pretty
I was
darn
going to say,
easy
yeah,
to
even
fix.
if you're in a position where you have no choice, then you can fix it later, of course. So.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
All right, hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, guess what? Pete Collins, the master of disaster, the master of alabaster, the master of plaster.
Everything, all the above.
Wow.
Wow, that's all you can
is all I
say.
can
That's
say.
wow.
All of that
Yowzer.
and more.
We'll be with us with the tutorial. Stick around. Don't go away right here on Photoshop User TV, the new season. We just talked. There's Pete.
At Panorama, our trained staff share your love of photography and can help you find what you're looking for. Our inventory is stocked with all types of cameras and accessories you need. Panorama has it all. Panorama, more than just a camera store. Visit us at 42 West 18th or at panorama.com.
Seven. Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Corey Barker.
Hello, hello.
And a special tutorial from Pete Collins coming up. Before we jump to Pete, I just want to mention, I went and looked at the XF data for my camera. I shot all of those at 24 millimeter. I should have shot them at maybe 50 at the very least, maybe 70. I like to, you know what it is? I always err. I'm always worried that I'm going to cut the sky off.
Yeah.
And so, as you can see, because of that foot technique, it keeps so much of the sky. I should have just trusted it, shot it with a...
Of course, it gave you more area to play with when you cropped it, but
did.
yeah.
But you know, when I had a lot of sky, I didn't really need to crop away.
True,
I just did it because I wanted it to look like a pano. But anyway, just want to let you know I did go and check, and it was 24 millimeter. Conk, conk. All right, Mr. Pete Collins, what do
All
you
right,
have for
guys.
us on this beautiful day?
Well, I'm going to kind of answer a problem that I've run into, and it's one of those that's simple when you realize what the situation is, but it can be frustrating if you're not sure what's going on. And it has to do with brushes. And if I take a brush right here, and I want to create a nice pattern with the brush, the thing is I've got to first make sure that I've got my spacing set up, and almost always I'm going to at least start out at 100% to make sure that if I've got some sort of shape or pattern, I want it to repeat evenly. Well, the problem is that I've still got shape dynamics going on here, and it's giving me a little size jitter and stuff like that that I don't want. I want even right across the board. Well, so what happens is I turn that off. I don't even need that. All I've got is my spacing set for 100. The problem is, as soon as I start drawing, it's still giving me a little bit of the shape dynamics. You can see all of a sudden it's turned back on. We come back here to the shape dynamics, and it's turned that on. So we make sure to turn it back off. Now we come back here, we even click it off, and we do it again, and it's still happening. And if you're like me, you do it about 8-10 times before you realize something else has to be going on. I'm not losing my mind. I've restarted Photoshop, and it still happens over and over again. So what's going on? And what's happening is this little icon up here in the top has been clicked on, and it is an override to anything you do over here. And it takes people a while to realize that any of these little icons up here in the option bar, if they're clicked on, are going to override the settings over here. So if you find yourself working a brush or something and it just keeps fighting you, make sure you go up here and check these icons, and you might need to toggle one of them on or off. And that may save you a lot of headaches. Also, if you're not sure what these are up here, if you just hover over them, they should be able to give you little clues about what's going on. And it says, oh, always use pressure for size. And it says, okay, that's what's going on. It's overriding the pressure setting over here in Shape Dynamics. And so that's a little thing that hopefully will save you a little sanity. It drove me crazy, and hopefully that will help you out. Check the option bar if things aren't going the way you think they should in the brushes.
I agree. I mean, every time I'm using the brushes, it's a habit now. I just go into the options bar and the brush window and just make sure there's nothing checked on. It just becomes a habit now. If you're frustrated by it enough times, it just becomes a habit. And but it is one of those little gotchas.
Well, and invariably, I'm using it. I want that for certain things. I want that override to, if I'm getting in there making masks or whatever, I want to be able to use the pressure of the tablet to get in there. But then I forget when I move on to the next thing, and it just, I'm like, why is this not behaving? And we're so quick to blame Photoshop for messing up, and sometimes it's just
and not just brushes. There's a lot of sticky features in Photoshop that still get me to this day.
Yep.
So it can get annoying.
It is funny because there's some that you'd want to be sticky.
Yeah.
And there's some that you don't want to be sticky. There's one that I get burned on a lot right now. I can't remember exactly what it is. You know what interesting is sticky? I just showed you how to set your camera raw to where it does the 2 megapixel.
Yeah.
I better go back and fix that.
Because
that setting is sticky.
It should.
In fact, I'm going to do it right now while you're talking about the great prizes we have, because I will certainly forget, and then I'm host.
Prizes. Nice segue, of course. All right, so we're going to move on to we're almost wrapping things up here for our first show, the new season. We've got some prizes to give away, of course. Tell you how to go and get these in just a moment, but first let's start off. We have Perfect Layers 2 here from On1.
Perfect.
It's perfect. I need not say more, because that's what it is.
So what it does is, by the way, Perfect Layers adds the ability to work with layers inside of Lightroom.
Yes.
Or with Lightroom. If I say inside, people will freak out.
I know. I was going to say we have to be careful how that's worded. Yes.
Oh
gives you the capability of such and of layer prop things and such like.
Yeah, we have to say it in a certain way. So
yes, because it can be greatly misinterpreted. But it is a great product. Gives you a lot of flexibility.
If you apply a filter, like if you apply Nick Color Effects or Topaz or whatever, do you go, I leave Photoshop, go to this plugin, and then I come back to Photoshop? No, you just go, I apply the thing right in Photoshop.
Yeah.
I know. All right, back to our story. Jeez.
It's going to be okay, Scott.
All right.
It's just, it's amazing how people can just, never mind. All right, so Perfect Layers. Also, we have an ebook to give away. We have Joe McNally's Sketching Light, an illustrated tour of the possibilities of Flash. That is an ebook that we'll be giving away as well as this fantastic prize right here. So you have different types of media. How do you get these fabulous prizes?
What a great question, Corey.
So you go to kelbytv.com/PhotoshopUser TV. Go down to the comment section, enter a comment. Tell us a joke. Tell us what you'd like to see on the show. Just tell us anything and everything that you want to, and reason why you deserve such fabulous prizes.
You do deserve fabulous prizes.
They do. Everyone does. But that's how you go and get your fabulous prizes. We want to
now that's the only place they can go to be eligible. There are lots of places you could see this, but you need to go to PhotoshopUser TV.com.
Yes, commenting on Facebook and such like that does not count or anything like that. So it has to be that.
Well, my friends, this time has flown by.
No, it has.
Hasn't it?
Yes.
And what about Pete with that tip, huh?
Awesome.
Let's look at him.
Stupendous.
He's full
there
of
you
love.
go.
Yes.
He is. You know what? He's bursting with love.
He's bursting with love.
He's exuberant. He's jubilant. Flatulent. He's really something. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Welcome back to our first season. So our season lasts, what, 13 episodes, right?
Something like that, yeah.
You're not doing 26, are you?
No, we're not. We didn't get picked up by a studio for that many episodes this year.
13. We can only. You know what it is? Well, we only trust ourselves enough for half a season. So anyway, but thank you to Corey. Thank you to Pete. Thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to Peach Pit Press. Don't forget to go to peachpit.com and take advantage of that deal on Train's new book. It's quite something. And thank you guys. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Meredith. I'm sure she's somewhere.
And the Phantom,
probably in the booth.
The Phantom Jib guy today.
Ooh. There's nobody running the jib? Juan, can you sneak
good.
over there
he
and make it move or
things.
something?
Can we get a jib move?
All right, he's going to have to look. He's having to sneak behind cameras and stuff. Because I hate to not use a jib. I mean, we spent all this money on the dang jib. And Juan's so, you know.
He's
there we go. There we
go.
But we're looking at the jib. We can't.
Don't look at the jib. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We're not
Bye,
looking
guys.
at that jib that's up there. If you think we're looking there, it's not true. One end of the